the most interesting monography of this subject, or another interesting study of cultural and intellectual life of Ukrainian emigration in Poland after 1920, I mean emigration from Kiev, of course, by Emilian Wiszka, Prasa emigracyjna ukraińska w Polsce, during the Ukrainian emigration press in Poland in 1920-1939. These are only examples. There are very many books books and articles that try to analyze different aspects of this story of Polish-Ukrainian collaboration against Soviet Russia and Soviet Union, introduced with Piłsudski-Petlura agreement. But then we have a much more important, probably, problem of the analysis of Polish state policy towards Ukrainians in Poland. It is introduced by a relatively well-documented new monography of Polish-Ukrainian war in Eastern Galicia by Michał Klimecki. That is a kind of summary of historiography in this subject. And after that, we have a series of new books that continue the line that was introduced in Polish historiography by such eminent historians as Ryszard Torzecki in his Kwestia Ukraińska w Polsce, or Andrzej Chojnowski, Koncepcja polityki narodowościowej rządów polskich. Both of these books that were edited in the during the communist times still, both of these books present Polish state policy towards Ukrainians in really realistic terms, showing most of the blunders done in this policy and analyzing also context, geopolitical and social and economic context, especially as regards Torzecki, of this policy. This line was deepened, if I can say so, by Włodzimierz Mędrzecki in his very detailed analysis of województwo wołyńskie during the interwar period, in which he showed that one of forgotten elements that created specific of Polish policy towards Ukrainians was the very weakness of the Polish state. It was weak, and that's why many measures Polish state introduced in its policy towards minorities, Ukrainians in the first place, were a kind of compromise, mostly very unhealthy compromise, between grandiose plans and very weak means to realize these plans. Nevertheless, Mędrzecki, in his analysis of civilizational, social and economic development of Volhynia during the interwar period, stresses that, however, there were many blunders in Polish policy there, both education, communication, roads and so on, role of intelligentsia. In many respects, we can talk about real development even in this region of Poland. And there is one question that might be or should be posed, comparative question. In which part of Ukraine, on which side of the border, this social, civilizational and national development was more restrained for Ukrainians, or more positive for Ukrainians? It is a question that has to be addressed both by, I think, Polish and Ukrainian historiography. There are also several books that might be treated as a kind of answer to this neo-nationalist publications I mentioned by Prus or Poliszczuk. Among these positive answers to this challenge, I would like to mention a very recent book by Roman Wysocki, a historian from Lublin, that presents in the most probably detailed monography in any language, Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists in Poland, 1929-1939. It was...
5 minutes.
Okay, thank you, sir. And he presents this organization as without using any abusive words, without using any abusing comparisons, for example, with Nazi organizations that were used by Prus and by others, neo-nationalist historians dealing with this subject in Poland previously. Or we can mention another very interesting monography by another historian from Kraków, Andrzej Ziemba, who deals with Ukrainian-Polish relations in Canada among minorities, which he does without neglecting very strong connections between Canadian Ukrainians and Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists, but at the same time without, so to speak, demonizing this aspect of Polish-Ukrainian relations there. By the way, Andrzej Ziemba is also the author of many studies that try to recuperate, if I could say so, the great person of Andrzej Szeptycki as a both political and spiritual leader of Ukrainians in Poland. In the end, I want to mention two books that might serve us as an introduction to final generalizations. One of them is a book by Waldemar Paruch Od konsolidacji państwowej do konsolidacji narodowej, consecrated to Polish, from Piłsudski's side, state policy applied to Ukrainians, among others, minorities, in which he stresses again very efficiently the subject that is neglected in many, as I know, Ukrainian books on the subject, namely geopolitical context of many changes and twists of Polish national policy towards Ukrainians. So to cut it short, actually, the most fierce anti-Ukrainian stand this policy took in two moments when Poland felt herself the weakest between the Soviet Union and Nazi, first Germany, then Nazi Germany. That is 1930 and 1931, and then 1938-39. Actually, in 1931, it is just before Poland managed to recuperate its relations with the Soviet Union, and then in 1934 with Germany. And of course, what 38 and 39 means for Poland, it is not necessary to mention here as regards geopolitical position of Poland. So again, weakness is the source of many decisions taken